listened to him, and I thought to myself, I want to do that. I want to do that. So, so then I started pestering my mother about taking piano lessons. So she gave in after a little bit, and so I started taking piano lessons, and we didn't even have a piano. And she had a friend that lived down the street, and I walked to school and back every day because they didn't have school buses in those days. It's 1934, but on the way home, about 2 blocks from where I lived, she had a friend that was on the other side of the street that had a piano, and she told a friend about that I was going to be taking lessons, and she wanted to know if he could stop and practice on his way home from school every day. So the arrangement was made, and I went in there, and I went in and practiced every day, and practiced for about an hour, and came home, and everything went along fine. And I'd been taking lessons about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. The reason that my folks, of course, didn't buy a piano right off the bat, they figured, well, you know, he's gonna get tired of this in a little bit, and he's gonna find it's too hard, like most kids, and he's gonna want to go out and play ball and do this. And my piano teacher told my mother, she said, you know, you better get a piano for this kid. He said, he's serious. He's gonna be a piano player. So, so then they went and bought an old used upright piano. I started playing professionally in New York State, in Auburn, New York.
In Auburn, okay.
In Auburn, New York, in 1948.
And what brought you out here?
One day when I was in a barber shop waiting for a haircut, I picked up a little magazine. It was called Ford Times. Did you ever hear of it?
No.
Ford Times was a little magazine just about the size of Reader's Digest. Lo and behold, I ran across an article and pictures of Lake Pend Oreille and the big Kamloops rainbows that they were catching out of there. And I was a fishing nut when I was a kid. Besides playing the piano, I loved to fish, and I loved stream fishing, and I went out and I stream fished all the time and I loved fishing for trout. And to my dismay, I remember now, to my dismay, when I got to Ohio, and then later on to Minnesota and into North Dakota, you couldn't drink anymore at 18. You had to be 20. I didn't know that. I just thought, well, it was 18 in New York State. That was
Life was rough by the time you left town.
So I couldn't go into any places where they served liquor or beer and play anyway, or work there, you know. So when I got to Sandpoint, I had $5 in my pocket, and you know, if that happened to me today, I'd be real worried. But I wasn't worried at all. I wasn't worried at all. Anyway, I'd been sleeping in my car, and so I was tired. And I thought there's an old hotel here in Sandpoint which doesn't exist anymore. It was called the Lincoln Hotel, right down there on First Avenue. And the Lincoln Hotel, and I went in there and got a room, and I think the room was $2, and that left me with, when I got up in the morning, but that time I had $3 in my pocket, and I went to a restaurant because I was hungry, and I got a breakfast which I think cost less than $1. You know, this is 1949.
Mm-hmm.
Things were a lot cheaper than they are now, and then so I only had a little over $2 left in my pocket. So I went to. I was going to go to the. I asked somebody where the employment office was, and they told me. And I thought, well, okay, I'm going to go there, but I'm going to go take a look at this lake first. So I walked down, and I walked out on. There were some long docks that went out into the lake. They're not even there anymore. And I was just awed. I was just awed. The water was. You could look down in 15 foot of water and see the bottom. I mean, it was clear, and these huge mountains all around this lake and everything. I mean, it was just, I thought, oh man, this is heaven. And I love this place. So my playing was not all that great, but people like that stride piano thing, and that's what I cut my teeth on. Was
so
that.
Who were some of the folks you listened to that you particularly liked at the time when you were just starting to learn to do that and playing ragtime?
Well, I think one of my first influences was Nat King Cole, who didn't play stride piano, and well, he could play any kind of piano he wanted to. He was a fantastic player. Most people think of him as a singer, which he was, but they don't. A lot of people don't realize what a hellishly great player he was. But he was fantastic. Then I got acquainted with Fats Waller and of course Art Tatum, and Art Tatum just totally blew me away. And so I decided, you know, well, I want to, you know, the heck with this stride piano stuff. I want to play like these guys do. So I started teaching myself, because I mean, there wasn't anybody around that I knew that was teaching jazz or anything. So I just listened to these guys and figure out what they were doing, and bit by bit it comes slow. You know, you don't get it. It takes
a while.
Years.
Sure. Now, was this
early on? I had a record player, so I was buying records.
okay?
And that was before they had. I mean, there wasn't any tapes or CDs.
These were 78s when you first got going.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
And I'd buy records. And I began to get influenced by these jazz players, and then Oscar Peterson too. After I got out west.
Okay.
Now, did you get together with Pearl and sit down at the piano and talk things over and stuff a lot?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. To begin with, I couldn't show Pearl anything. I mean, everything that I was doing, she'd already forgotten. But after a number of years went by, as I progressed with that, I began to find some things that she found interesting.
Right.
And so then we began, you know. I was always playing catch up with Pearl. I don't think I ever caught up with her, but I was always playing catch up.
Things.
Sure.
What's the name of that?
Autumn in New York. I guess hearing Pearl play it made me think of it.